place. I'm doing fine, I'm feeling great. You're not my fan, you can't relate. Straight talk going, safe not safe. Before you cross me, look both ways. Leaving the scene with no trace, none in my league. You out of place, I'm not at the top, I'm outer space. Can't eat with us, we're out of place. I'm doing fine, I'm feeling great. You're not my fan, you can't relate. Straight talk going, state to state.
What's going on, guys? It's your host, your boy, George Mackay. I'm back. We're dropping this one specially early. We're dropping this on a Tuesday instead of a Wednesday, but there's a reason why. I'm back here with my guest. You already saw him on the screen right there. The one and only Alessandro Del Bruno. And the reason why we are dropping this early is because he's got probably the biggest match of his life, his career, if you will, his dream match happening 4 days after the release. So please help me welcome back to Straight Talk Wrestling for the third time, not the last time, the one and only Alessandro Del Bruno. How are you, sir?
Very good. Thank you for having me back for this, I guess, special occasion per se, but I'm glad to be back on the show for sure.
Absolutely.
Good to see you, man.
Always glad to see you, brother. You know what? It's great. It's great to have caught up with you a little bit at Destiny, and then to see you at Greek Town was great. Yeah, a couple barn burners, man. Like every match you put on is just so damn entertaining. And it's the spots you do, but it's also the spots that are given, spots that are taken. Like these matches are always revved up. And I gotta say, like, I've noticed that depending on who you're in the ring with, especially if it's someone that you know really well, you kick it up a little bit, eh? There's a little extra oomph when you do like the kicks and when you do the the knees. There's that little extra oomph, and it's almost like it's done on purpose. I've asked this question before, but I think you always give a better answer, an updated answer every time. When you're in the ring with your friend, you're not intentionally trying to hurt him, but you do want to make sure he's aware that you're there, right?
Yeah, sure, for sure. And I think there's that camaraderie where, two friends want to always try to steal the show. So we know exactly what we're doing in there, and, putting a little extra sauce on it per se is the way to go for sure.
I like that. Put a little
not the
extra
pasta sauce.
Yeah,
not the pasta sauce.
Just a little extra sauce. Just got to get it in there.
Yeah.
Or like the Americans say, like gravy. Like, does that bother you?
Yeah.
Being like a full-blooded Italian and they say gravy instead of sugo, they say gravy.
Yeah, because regular gravy, like, I'm not a big fan of. So I think it's a little disrespectful.
I'm not gonna lie. Whenever I watch like Sopranos with my wife and stuff, and they go, "Oh, where's the gravy?" and I go, "Why do they always ask for gravy in the show? Like they must love poutines." And she goes, "No, that's what they call tomato sauce." I go, "What the fuck's the point of that? Just call it sugo. Sugo. What's wrong with that? I don't get it."
I know. It sounds way better and more Italian. Like, What's going on here, guys?
Yeah, it's like The Godfather, right? The scene where Clemenza is teaching Michael how to cook for 30 guys. You put in your sausage and your meatballs and your peppers into the sugo. He doesn't say you pour it all in the gravy. Get the fuck out of here, gravy. What is this?
Yeah,
What's happening?
We just ruined the whole thing.
Exactly.
Oh my God.
I could just see like Francis Ford Coppola walking up to the actor if he said it and been like, "It's fucking sugo, you stupid."
In all my life living on this earth, I've never heard anyone in my family use the term gravy, and I'm proud of it.
Yeah, absolutely. You know what? When I do come over to the Del Bruno house for Sunday dinner one day, I'm gonna say to your mom, I'm gonna be like, "Mama Del Bruno, pass me the gravy," and she's gonna be like, "Get out of my house. Get the fuck out of my house. Leave right now."
100%. 100%.
So speaking of family, speaking of mama, grandma, now you and your wife welcomed a beautiful baby boy into the world. Congratulations on that. I know the last time we spoke, it was, I don't think you had announced it yet, but you had told me off camera, which was very exciting. I waited for the announcement, said my congratulations. But you don't look like a man who has the bags under his eyes. You're 7 months in, so it doesn't look so bad. But I know for being a new dad,
appreciate that.
I know for being a new dad a couple times now that the 3 month eye drops, it's a lot, eh?
It's a real thing. I mean, I don't know. Maybe I had someone off camera touch up my makeup here, but it's no, I'm kidding. It's definitely real. Every kid's a little bit different, and not to say he's easy by any means, but it is definitely what people say it is, with a lot of late nights and a lot of early mornings for sure. But it's, how it is. It's well worth it.
Oh, it is 100%. Until they get to like the age of the mini host where they're talking back more frequently, and that becomes a problem, Alessandro. That becomes
sure.
Because they always seem to have the answer. And even though I didn't ask a question, they seem to have the answer. And that
keeps you on your toes.
It does. It absolutely does. It keeps me on my toes. It also what causes this. I mean, you don't have to worry about it so much. You've got a nice, thick, full head of hair. But I, on the other hand, which is why I wear hats as often as I possibly can, because I know it's thinning, and it is what it is. It's okay.
That's hilarious. That's hilarious.
So
no,
right
I can't
now,
wait till he starts talking.
Oh, dude. Yeah, you know what? You say that now. I was like, I can't wait till the girls start talking. I'm going to make them watch comic book movies. I'm going to introduce them into wrestling. It's going to be amazing. And then they start talking, and it's like sometimes you're like, oh my God, I just wish for the quiet again. I wish for the babbling. I wish for the quiet again. You do. You really, bro. I'm giving you an education of what to expect down the line.
All right. Preparing me for sure. Yeah. I'm ready.
Perfect. So he's 7 months old now. So he's probably, we got a little bit of crawling action happening. We got him kind of grabbing everything, kind of exploring.
He's a little beast. Like he's sitting up on his own, rolling over, like already trying. You could see like there's signs of him trying to talk, cutting promos, like all those things, right? But no, it's great. It's great to see it in 7 months how much a baby can just transform. It's insane. And then to say, like, some people, you know, their kids start talking at 10 months, so that's really around the corner. So we'll see.
Absolutely. No matter what, all I know is that kid's gonna have a lot of love and a lot of good family memories, a lot of good family food. How was his first Christmas? Because 7 months, he was what, 3 or 4 months old when Christmas came around?
Yeah, he was only 3 months.
Right.
To be honest, it was probably one of the worst Christmases he could have had, because I unfortunately had COVID at that time.
Oh no.
So me and my wife had to be separated on Christmas, obviously. But it's okay. That one he won't remember, and we'll make his real first Christmas memorable next Christmas for sure, because he'll be able to appreciate it way more.
Absolutely. And you know what the cool thing is? As they get older, you have an excuse to buy toys and play with the toys. Like when he's older, he'll be like PS9, PS10. So you'll have the ability to be like, oh, let me show you how I used to play back on my PS4.
The best part is, you know, I don't even have to buy all of it. I can get the grandparents to buy it. I can get other people to pay, you know.
There it is. Mama Del Bruno, hint, hint, start saving your pennies now, because
a
PlayStation 10, PlayStation 9 or 10 is going to be probably around $5 or $6 grand at that time.
yeah.
All right, but the reason we are here, and a reason I am so excited to be here, is that, you know, one of the first times, the last time I had you on the show, we were talking about crossbody and how you had the opportunity to have your dream match, and it was against Alex Shelly. And then COVID hit.
Yeah.
That was almost 3 years ago. COVID hit, and it destroyed literally everybody's lives upside down for a very long time. But now we're learning how to deal with it. We're learning how to rise above it. We're learning how to move on. And now, a different promotion, you're going to get your dream match, NSW, New School Wrestling. They greenlit you versus Alex Shelly 3 years later at Hell Freezes Over on June 10th. Literally 4 days after this conversation drops, you get that match. And I can see the biggest smile on your face right now. You get to face your idol. You get to face the man that probably was a big inspiration for you getting into wrestling. What's going through your head right now that it's 3 years later than it was supposed to originally happen?
Yeah. Well, in between that time, you know, it wasn't very, I don't think it was put out there enough because it was during COVID. NSW tried also. There was a second time that it was tried, but then it got turned away and got canceled. Same thing because of COVID. So this is the third time, 3 years later, like you said, exactly. I would say it's, you know, 17 years in the making from when I started pro wrestling. He is like my dream match. But first and foremost, what goes through my head is I probably won't believe it until I'm standing across the ring with him because all of these trials and tribulations of the match happening and not happening. And that's now it's like, I mean, to me, when you see the match graphic for any match, it's gonna happen, right? But in this case, twice it didn't happen. So I don't think I'll be fully invested in knowing that this is going to happen until I see him standing across from me. But I'm more than ready and prepared. I feel like, I've wrestled for this long, 17 years, and I don't think, as much as he is my dream match, I don't think any other time in my career I could say, I want to wrestle him, but I don't think I was ever ready to wrestle him. And now I can say like confidently that after this amount of time and wrestling as many times as I've wrestled and been in that ring and being as confident as I am now in that ring, like I'm definitely ready for this match. I could probably say I'm more ready than ever. Yeah, for sure. So this is definitely a dream match, you can call it. Any fan can call it that. It definitely means a lot more to me than just a dream match for many reasons. You've probably seen, along with some of the fans, the hype video that I've dropped past week. That video is something that I created in the mind of myself, and obviously the production is Savage Media. Those guys put together a beautiful piece for me there, just explaining like kind of what I've gone through just to get to this point. And I'm glad it's here and I'm glad it's happening. And I'm very happy that it's happening in Hamilton, because I felt like this is a place where I've kind of built my career, and it's coming full circle on the 10th, June 10th at NSW.
Absolutely, you're right, full circle, right? But I got to ask this question, because this is a probing question, and I always shoot straight here. Del Bruno 3 years ago, when this match was supposed to take place, to Del Bruno 2 years ago when we had another chance and it didn't happen, to Del Bruno now. You say you're more ready now than you were 3 years ago. So do you think if COVID didn't happen, that you wouldn't have been as ready as you are now, having that extra 3 years, a year to rest your body, but another 2 years to kind of, I guess, tighten up the screws a little bit, if you will?
Yeah. No, you know what? I mean, you're totally right. You're bang on. When I say I wasn't ready, I mean like more early on, because I feel like a lot of guys get their dream matches early in their career, like under 5 years, and a lot of guys are getting their dream matches per se, or guys they want to wrestle, and maybe they go back in time and say, oh, I wasn't as good as I really could be, now I'm better, type of thing. But you are definitely right, because in the last 3 years I feel like I've hit this new level. I was wrestling for NSW throughout the whole pandemic with no crowd, and I feel like that changed me as a wrestler. Like, having no crowd is not great, nobody loves it, but it taught me so much about me and myself as a pro wrestler. And then when the crowd came back, I just used those skills that I learned, and combining that again with my confidence that I have inside, like you said earlier, you can see the difference when you've been watching me recently at Destiny and Greektown and these places. Like, I don't think right now there's like a better time for me in wrestling. So I feel like I'm at my prime in professional wrestling in Ontario.
I absolutely would agree. I personally have always been a fan from the first time I saw you. Now, mind you, every promotion I see you, you're always very smiley and happy with me. But when you get out there, depending on, who you're supposed to be, you flip-flop. You're the one person, I find this such an amazing talent, that you are the nicest, most humblest people in Ontario indie. But you can be such an arrogant prick when you have to be. And it's not, I don't feel like it's unnatural for you. I feel like that ego's there, but I feel like you only bring it out when you're supposed to. But other than that, you stay humble. There's nothing wrong with that. But how do you flip the switch? You be like, hey, George, how are you? And then you'll walk out the crowd 25 minutes later and you'll see me and you go, fuck you. Like, what the hell? What did I do to you, bro?
Well, I try not to do the whole flip off stuff because that to me is just cheap. You know what I mean? But yeah, I know what you mean. It's something that I guess comes with, I guess, experience. I mean, it's just very like, I'm very calm before I go out to matches. So whether I'm one style or the other, one persona or the next, like I know how to just get into a zone and to turn it on right before I can go out the curtain. I guess it's a good skill to have, but that's what I attested to is probably my calmness in the back before I go out on the curtain.
So speaking of calmness in the back before you go out in the curtain, what is your stomach going to be doing on June 10th? Because I don't think there can be a calm before the storm. Is it going to, do you think it's going to feel like your first time going through the curtain? Are you going to have that kind of like the gurgles, the bubbles, if you will? Are you going to have that? You're going to be excited. You're going to be pumped, but it's also like you said, the minute you go through those ropes and you see what's staring across you for the ring, or you watch him come out from the ramp, depending on who comes out first.
Yeah.
What's like, there's not a moment for you to sit there and take a breath. You can't take it in.
Yeah. I think I've been in this position many times where, well, not in this exact position, but I've tried to think about it this week. Actually, this is funny that you bring it up. I was like, I wonder how I will feel before the match. And, I think the biggest feeling that I'll have is one that is, pressure on myself to deliver. Mm-hmm. Because I think no matter what, when you put two very good professional wrestlers in a ring, you're bound to have a good match. Now you put two good professional wrestlers in a ring and sometimes you have an exceptional match. So I think I'll have the pressure of putting an exceptional match on, not for just the fans, because obviously that is the goal and stuff like that, but for myself, because it is my dream match. So that is the biggest hurdle for me. And I've been in that position many of times where I felt like I needed to deliver because I was wrestling a name per se, and I've done it. And the only thing that I can attest it to is, yeah, I do have a little stomach, anxiety at the beginning, but it all does go away after I step out of the curtain. So when I go through the curtain, it's almost like it disappears and then I'm in a zone. I think the anticipation and the buildup in the back is more, if I'm not calm for a certain situation, then the anticipation, the buildup is what gets you at start, but it doesn't get me in the ring. So I'm pretty proud of that, I can say.
No, I've seen you in the ring. Like there's no fear. There's no hesitation. It's like straight, steady hand. It's not, there's no fucking around when Del Bruno's in the ring. But you also know when Del Bruno's in the ring, you're going to get a show. Now, I got to ask you this. You always find some way to work it in a match where you either red card or yellow card him. Are you thinking that you're going to yellow card Shelly first to give him like a warning, or are you going to go straight to the red card? Like, how are you going to play that?
It all depends on what kind of Alex Shelly we get. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like there is multiple layers of Shelly, and the thing with Shelly is, I don't think people really understand the amount of studying I've done when it comes to Shelly. He's not just my favorite wrestler. I feel like he's someone who I've idolized for a very long time. And, they say the famous line, if you do something for 10,000 hours, you're a professional at it, or, then you can call yourself the best at it. And I've definitely studied over 10,000 hours of Alex Shelly. So I know there's many different Alex Shellys that I could expect, and I'm prepared for either one of them. So we'll have to see if there is, a bad Alex Shelly that we get and we see, then he might have to get a straight red card. no warnings.
No warnings. Wow, just straight red card, eh? Straight red card.
Hey,
Like when
it happens.
it does
It
happen.
happens.
It does happen. You know, you're right. It does happen. It does happen. It happens quite a bit. It actually seems to happen to the England national team a lot of times when there's an Italian ref in the game. Just saying. Just gonna throw that out there. A lot of times.
Hey, that's what we go to, you know? The Sugo. You see red.
Okay, so I gotta ask you this. A lot of people when they talk about their favorite wrestlers, everyone has that wrestler they gravitated towards. Me as a kid, I had two, Sting and Triple H. Those were my guys.
Nice.
Those were my guys. And everybody, you know, a lot of people throw out the Stone Colds, they throw out the Hogans, they throw out the Scott Halls, the Kevin Nashes, Shawn Michaels, so many names. But what about Alex Shelly gravitated you towards him? And out of all the great names that could possibly be out there, and not taking anything away from Alex Shelly, he is definitely one of a kind, and he's definitely well deserving of being a lot of people's favorite wrestlers. But what about Alex Shelly made him something that was must-see TV in Del Bruno's house? Like, he couldn't miss if Alex Shelly was on the tube.
Yeah, I mean, first things that come to mind is what you said, and he is one of a kind. There really isn't someone and then going on that point of being one of a kind, I fell in love with the fact that he was a master at blending so many different styles of wrestling and making it his own. It was a singles thing at first, and then he made it a tag thing with the Motor City Machine Guns, and those guys basically revolutionized the style we watch today. Before the Young Bucks and everything we see today, those guys were pretty much the pioneers because they knew how to take a million different styles, blend it into a different style of their own, and make it the style we are seeing today. So I think between, you know, lucha libre, between the American style, between the Japanese style, he was able to blend all those, and I automatically knew what was happening when I was watching it. And I just loved the collaboration that he brought, and that's what made him one of a kind to me. That on top of his charisma, which obviously I was a Shawn Michaels guy at a very young age, and Shawn being the guy who was all about the charisma and things like that. So that style that he brings and his charisma are the two things that draw him to me as my favorite wrestler for sure.
Absolutely. And you know what? There's nothing there that you said I would challenge you on in any shape or form. It would be naive of me to even try to consider that, because you are an Alex Shelly fan. You've studied over 10,000 hours. You know what you're looking for. But the one thing I will say is that as much as I appreciate the Motor City Machine Guns, and I appreciated what him and Saban did together, you're right. When him and Saban went their separate ways and kind of carved out their own singles legacy, did you see those level up moments, if you will? Did you really see how they could elevate everyone around them in a ring, whether it be X division matches, whether it be, grudge matches, anything like that? They found a way to elevate that sense of storytelling and make you. It's weird because whenever you watch an Alex Shelly match, not only do I care for Alex Shelly because he pulls that emotion out of me, but I care for the guy who he's beating the shit out of, because it almost seems like there's no hold to it. You know what I mean? Like, he doesn't turn it off. If you're in a ring with Alex Shelly, you're going to feel it on June 11th. When you wake up, you're going to know, yeah, I was in a ring with Alex Shelly, and everything sucks right now. It absolutely does.
And that's what I want. And I would want nothing less. I would want nothing less. And yeah, I do agree. Like, they did carve out, their own as singles. Then they came to the tag. And then after the tag, you could see their footprints on, the more experienced side of things, like you're saying, with the younger talent. And now just when you watch their whole match and the way they lay out their match and the psychology behind it is just is something to behold. Obviously pioneers and reason for being the top of their game.
Absolutely. So if anyone's tuning in, welcome. Late to the episode as always, but go back and rewatch the whole thing and then come back and watch up to this point. We're talking about NSW, Alessandro Del Bruno versus Alex Shelly. 3 years in the making. Hell freezes over June 10th. This is going to drop a couple days before the show. Now, I hope tickets are still on sale. And if they aren't, maybe, DM Del Bruno and he'll see if he can, get you something. They're maybe hard to come by. I don't know. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
But what I am sure of is that this is going to be a match that Hamilton is going to be talking about for a very long time. And that's no ego. That's no kissing ass. That's just knowing what you're going to bring, because not only do you always want to face that guy that inspired you or that girl that inspired you, but more importantly, you want to be able to pin their shoulders 1, 2, 3. That's the goal of any wrestler, right? Is to be able to pin the person that inspired them to walk through the ropes. Am I wrong when I say that?
No, I think that's obviously I'd be lying if I said that it's not about that. You never know, right? Like, I mean, I said it in the hype video, and if I lose to the best wrestler in independent wrestling. If I win, what does that make me, right? So you got to think of it like that. You
really have to, eh? Jesus Christ. What does that make me? Well, I mean, that makes you the best fucking independent wrestler on the planet when you knock the guy off the totem pole. That's what it has to make.
Maybe not, but I think it will solidify a lot of things as a wrestler in NSW and as a wrestler in Ontario. So Absolutely. It's important to me for sure.
Are members of the Del Bruno family, not the Del Bruno faithful, not the fans, but are actual members of the family going to be at the event?
Absolutely, they'll be there. Obviously, they know the importance of this match, and there's a few of them that'll be there, so it'll be a loud one for sure.
Absolutely. Couple more questions, and then before we go, we always got to play a game. I got a good game I want to play with you, so we're going to play that. But when you look at your career for 17 years and you look at now this pinnacle, and this is, like you said, this is the best version. You've reached that plateau. This is the best version of you as a wrestler, as an entertainer now at this point. When you look at your career, whatever happens after this, whatever happened before, would you consider this to be that ultimate feather in your cap? Like, there's so many more years left in your career, and we know what you can do. But like you said, this is the peak right now. You're at the peak of who you are as a wrestler. You're facing your dream opponent. You're ready. You're focused. This whole conversation, we've talked about anxiety. We've talked about all this and that, but none of it matters, because when that bell rings, all time for talking is over. But would you say that this would be one of those feathers in your cap, that when your career is long behind you, you'll look back and be like, fuck, man, I went to war with Alex Shelly. And I went to war with Alex Shelly, and I, whether I lost or I won, I went to war with Alex fucking Shelly.
Yeah. I mean, that's the ultimate goal here. I want to put on the best performance that I can for myself, live up to what I feel I can in this match, because I want to look back on it as a feather in the cap and say, yeah, that's exactly what I did, and that's exactly what I wanted to do. But at the same time, it could be that turning point in my career. It could go somewhere else, right? Take it to the next level. So that's another thing. That's another option, right? We don't know, but
Absolutely.
That for sure, when I definitely hang them up down the road, that will be something that I look back on and say, after 17 years at this point in my career, that I finally got to wrestle one of my favorite wrestlers.
It must be surreal to say that 17 years when it was actually almost going to be 14, then 15, then you know what I mean? Like 15, 16, like I remember this exact line. I remember you saying after You know, George, after
Yeah.
15 years, I'm going to be able to wrestle my favorite wrestler. And then it was like, well, hey, hold on. Listen, it didn't happen. But after 16, I'm going to be able to. No. 17, no excuses, no time for talking. And Alex Shelly, if you are watching this, thank you so much for watching it. I'm a fan. But I got to tell you this. My money's on Del Bruno. And it's not because we're friends. It's because I've seen this level. I've seen this plateau. I've seen where he's at. And this man is no fucking joke. And that's the truth. There you go. That's a promo that you've been endorsed by your host, your boy. I mean, that's a big deal, right? Big deal, Del Bruno.
I know it's a huge deal. I appreciate that.
Well, I appreciate the time as always. Let's play a game. You ready to play a game? This will get your mind off everything. Okay. I love it. I call this game. I'm going to call it, there's multiple names for it, but I'm going to give you two options and you're going to pick which one. I would do forced Mount Rushmore with you, which is where I give you 5 wrestlers, but I'm going to throw Alex Shelly in the mix. And I know that Alex Shelly is going to be the top of the mountain. So I'm not going to do it. So the option is very simple. It's like, I'm going to throw out words. I'm going to throw out, Apple, Microsoft. You just pick, you just say, okay, whatever comes to your mind, no thinking. Are you ready?
Yeah.
Okay, here we go. The word Sugo or the word gravy?
Sugo.
Okay. Spaghetti and meatballs, fettuccine Alfredo.
Fettuccine Alfredo.
It's good man right there. It's good man. Do you call romaine, what is it? Rapini? It's called rapini, but in the States they call it broccoli rabe. So rapini or broccoli rabe?
Rapini.
Thank you. Thank God again. See, this is why we have to do these things. And two more to wrap it up. Hockey or soccer? I already know the answer.
Oh, come on.
Right.
Soccer.
All right, fair enough. And the final one. This is a big one. Do you put ketchup or mayonnaise on your French fries?
Ketchup.
Okay, good answer. Phew, thank God. For a second there, I was getting a little nervous. That was the big one. I was getting a little nervous on that one. So that's what you call one over the other right there. That's the name of that one. Before you go, my friend, again, thank you so much for the time as always. Guys, don't forget, this is dropping a few days before Hell Freezes Over. NSW, Hamilton, Del Bruno versus Shelly. The time for talking is done. 3 years in the making. This is insane. I'm going to try to rework schedule so I can leave work a little early so I can bust my ass to get down there. But if not, no, I'm with you in spirit. I'm definitely with you in spirit for sure, my friend. But before we go, shout out your socials. And all I can say is, man, good luck. And try to take it in for even 2 seconds before that bell rings. Just try to take it in when you see who you're staring across the ring from. Okay?
Sounds good. I'll do it. Thank you for having me, man. It's always a pleasure. And this one's a little extra special, obviously. But yeah, the socials you can see me on Del Bruno's at Del Bruno 7 on Instagram, at Del Bruno 7 on Twitter. And head over to my YouTube page to check out that video, the hype video, if you haven't already, about me and Alex Shelly on June 10th, NSW. And guys, obviously we're doing a lot of talking about me and Shelly, but the card is stacked. It is worth the admission fee to come and see this whole card. It's going to be well worth it. And there will be tickets at the door. We're going to pack that place and it's going to be awesome.
It's going to be sexy times. It's going to be sexy. It's going to be blood, sweat, tears. I don't know what else. Beers, fears, cheers. It's got everything. I'm just rhyming words. But that's it, man.
There's
NSW.
no gravy.
NSW.
No gravy.
That's right. NSW Hell Freezes Over. Del Bruno and Shelly plus everyone else in the NSW roster. That's New School Wrestling. Okay. We've said NSW a lot, but yes, it's New School Wrestling. Very easy. New School Wrestling. You can also find them on Instagram. So shout out to them there. Okay. To the promoter, Steve. There, Steve. Okay. I shouted out NSW. Okay. Stop yelling at me all the time. Every time I see Steve, he's always yelling at me all the time. All right, guys. Peace, love, and wrestling. We'll see you next time. Or maybe Del Bruno will see you on June 10th. Who knows? Peace out, guys.
Thank you so much for listening. Don't forget to tune in next week for another great episode on all available podcast platforms and hosted on Podbean. Also, check us out on YouTube at Straight Talk Wrestling, on Instagram at Straight Talk Wrestling, on Facebook at Straight Talk Wrestling, and on Twitter at _Straight Talk. And if you feel the need to buy some sweet merch, check us out on ProWrestlingTees.com.
Leaving the scene with no trace, none in my league. You out of place. I'm not at the top. I'm outer space. Can't eat with us. We're out of place. I'm doing fine. I'm feeling great. You're not my fan. You can't relate. Straight talk going.